Well, good day. So, because the NHL playoffs are going on, I'm going to talk about a hockey cartoon. Not too many cartoons made about the Edmonton Oilers, so I'm going to have to talk about the Mighty Ducks. It's a different style of hockey that they're doing, but it's pretty neat to see. So, for the usual, we'll talk about all the things in the lineup here, and then yeah. So, all right, let's go. Alright, so we start off at a hockey game where the Mighty Ducks are beating the Burbank's Flapjacks 3-0, but the Flapjacks got the Ducks beat in the dirty hockey department. Bunch of roughhousers. And this doesn't sit well with star player Duke, as he thinks that humans are the cheapest, dirtiest hockey players in the entire galaxy. And he should know, because he's from a different part of the universe. Meanwhile, Ducks team manager Phil Palmfeather has set up an exhibition game with the Ducks to play against the Wombats in Santa Nicola. Because it would help the Wombats out because they're a struggling team, and that's how pro hockey works, I guess. Just random exhibition games, eh? Well, in the 1900s, maybe. Anywho, the Ducks head out to the Santa Nicola arena and BAM! It's a trap! The arena takes flight like it's a freaking spaceship. The Ducks are imprisoned by some lion humanoid guy named Kazor, and he works for some jerkface called Emperor Charg. And Charg has set up a tournament of space hockey called the Hockeydome. Space hockey, eh? Okay. It's like hockey mixed with the Kumite from the movie Bloodsport, but not from the Kumite from Bloodsport 4, because man, that was a really shitty movie, man, and I suggest you don't ever watch it. Anywho, with these Hockeydome challenges, first up we have the one-on-one challenge. The first player to score against their opponent wins. Nosedive goes first and is given a choice of weapons, but he's like, it's hockey, right? We don't play dirty. Just give me a hockey stick. So he's up against a Klaxar from the Nebula of Doom, and this guy brought guns to a hockey fight. So anyway, Klaxar starts blasting, but Nosedive uses the puck as a weapon and wins that round. So up next is Mallory, and she's learned from Nosedive's mistake, and she does bring a blaster, where she defeats a Zarp. Man, hockey sure has changed since the original 6 era. And of course she wins, and she tries to take out Emperor Charg, like permanently, right? But he's got this force field around him, so he's safe, but Charg's assistant, Weasel, is like, yo, your bodyguard, Kazar, whom I totally hate, he should be forced to play around, because he let Mallory try to kill you with a gun on a kid's show about hockey. And Charg is like, yeah, you're right. So Kazar has to play around, and he's up against Duke. And Duke beats the crap out of Kazar, like it's not even close. So so much for Duke's, thoughts on clean hockey, eh? And so much for Kazar being like a tough badass. He lost as fast as Captain Phasma did in The Force Awakens. But I digress. But if Kazor loses this round, he'll get blown up real good, as punishment for failing the Emperor. So Duke decides to let Kazar win this round, and he basically takes the fall by getting kind of beaten up. So yeah, so now we're in the team play round, and it's the Mighty Ducks against the Neurons, the reigning champions. The deadliest team which no one has ever survived against. And there are deadly obstacles on the ice too, like hot cones and water hazards with some tentacled creature in them. Crazy, right? So after the Neurons take a 1-0 lead, both teams get blast belts, which are full of explosives, and the losing teams will get absolutely blown to Kingdom Come. Nosedive ties the game pretty quick, but Grin gets his skates blasted off of him, so he's like, out! The Ducks are playing a man short! However, Kazor steps in to take Grin's place because he's like, yo, Duke helped me out, so I'm gonna help you guys out. But they're doing pretty good, the game's still tied, and both teams will get killed with these bombs. So Grin just stomps on the ice, gets the puck, and scores the goal to win the game in the last second, which still holds up that cartoon sports cliche of winning the game in the last second, so good on that. Actually, that'll be too many men on the ice, so how is that even allowed? That should be a penalty. Oh well. So now that the Ducks have won, they could just immediately be allowed to run around the whole building, which they do, and they get to a transporter. Kazor gets the Mighty Ducks transported back to Earth, and he himself transports to Altair 4, where he will join the rebels who are fighting to destroy these deadly Hockeydome games. So the Ducks get home just in time to stop their main series villain Dragonus from doing something, and yeah, I guess they win the day there too. So back on Earth, the Ducks are now playing another hockey game, this time against the dirty Toronto Maple Syrups. And Duke, in comparison to space hockey, doesn't seem to have a problem anymore with this uncivilized Earth hockey. So yeah, and that is where this interesting story ends. So yeah, that actually wasn't that bad of an episode. When this show originally came out, I was actually older than the target audience, so I never actually watched this series before. A lot of my coworkers, would mention to me how when they were younger, they really loved this show, so I figured based on that, I'd give this one a shot. And I really do love all these really obscure kind of versions of sport that they have in cartoons, Like the whole space hockey for this one. Futurama has Blur's Ball, right? Like a futuristic version of baseball. There's Jetsons Robot Football, Bugs Bunny Basketball. Like, it's all pretty awesome, right? So this episode is kind of a basic story. They do kind of run through it pretty quick, but it does have its moments. They do a lot of fourth wall breaking in this, which is kind of funny. Just hockey with laser blasters, man. It's just hilarious. I don't know why. And even though this cartoon isn't about my favorite team, the Edmonton Oilers, I could really appreciate someone who was a fan of the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim being able to watch their team in some kind of cartoon form, even though it's a duck version and not a human version. Not too many Oilers superheroes. I guess there was that one, I think it was 2010 or 2011, when the NHL teamed up with Marvel Comics to create the Nhl Guardians comic book. Each team had its own hero, and there was an Oiler, which kind of looked like Juggernaut from the X-Men, but shooting oil. And of course, the Ducks had one called the Duck, which looked like a guy playing cosplay for these Anaheim Duck cartoon guys. But as for cartoons, the closest I had to this as an Oiler fan was the cartoon Pro Stars, which had Wayne Gretzky. But at that time, he was already playing for Los Angeles. But, still, it was Gretzky, right? Anyway, I guess, this cartoon is what it is. Really is a kid-centric cartoon, and it is a hockey-centric cartoon, which is what kind of caught my interest. Don't know if I'll ever go out of my way to watch more of it, but if I do, I don't think I'll be disappointed. So, if you guys want to watch some of that too, I say, yeah, why the hell not, right? And so with that, let's go see what else we can dig up about the Mighty Ducks and all this kind of hockey and all those other things. So, Mighty Ducks, eh? This is a cartoon series about hockey, which was inspired by the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim from the NHL, which was inspired by a hockey movie of the same name, which was, I don't know, maybe inspired by Huey, Dewey, and Louie? All other inspirations are all about hockey, but this show is more focused on crime fighting, with a technologically advanced team of humanoid ducks that just happen to play some really clean and good hockey. So, the Mighty Ducks did win the Hockeydome tournament in this episode, but they didn't really, win a trophy to hoist. I guess they just won their opportunity to not be blown up, so, I guess that's pretty cool. To compare that to real life, the NHL Mighty Ducks did make it to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2003, but lost to the New Jersey Devils. A hard-fought series after a team name changed where the Mighty Ducks dropped the Mighty from the name. The Anaheim Ducks did finally hoist the Stanley Cup in 2007, where they defeated the Ottawa Senators. The name of this episode is called Mad Quacks Beyond Hockeydome, and is clearly a loving homage to the classic Australian dystopian future movie called Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, where the main character, Max, had to fight for his life in different types of gladiator kind of styled fights and whatnot in this place called the Thunderdome. So the Hockeydome did kind of have, the one-on-one battles and all that kind of stuff too. So yeah, actually decent inspiration and a decent homage. So let's talk about some more hockey references, shall we? Well, other than the Mighty Ducks being the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, I think that's been kind of hammered in pretty good. Both the cartoon and the NHL team are based in Anaheim, California, obviously. The real NHL team plays in an arena which is now known as the Honda Center, but at the time of the cartoon, their arena was known as the Arrowhead Pond of Anaheim. In the cartoon, the Mighty Ducks headquarters is an arena and is simply called the Pond. Of course, the Honda Center is still referred to as the Pond because that's just a pretty classic nickname for a team called Ducks. The leader of the team is called Wild Wing Flashblade, and he is definitely based off the Mighty Ducks mascot, Wild Wing, And he was kind of featured on the infamous Mighty Ducks third jersey from, 1996, where Wild Wing is a goalie and breaking through the ice on the front of the jersey, because the cartoon character Wild Wing is the goalie, so yeah. And he's still got that fancy goalie kind of duck mask, so yeah, pretty good. The enforcer on the team is Czech Hardwing, also known as Grin. And that's a slight reference to former NHL player Stu Grimson, who is also known as the Grim Reaper, or just Grim, I guess. Grim, Grin, right? There's the homage there, because Grimson was a fan favorite team enforcer, and he played for the Mighty Ducks around the same time of this series. The Grin character was kind of made to be a reference to the guy, which is kind of, a pretty nice homage. At the end of this episode, the Mighty Ducks play against a team called the Toronto Maple Syrups. And it can't be a more obvious reference to the Toronto Maple Leafs. No attempt to make the uniforms anywhere near similar or anything, but the name is pretty awesome. So these next ones are just complete stretches, and I strongly doubt they had any inspiration on the characters, but it's just things that I see, so I'm gonna talk about it. The manager of the Mighty Ducks, Phil Palmfeather, he just seems to me to be a combination of two people, one of them being former Los Angeles Kings head coach Barry Melrose, and the other being the former Kings owner, Bruce McNall. They're kind of look like they are a combination of the two guys with the hair and just the physical features, and Phil was kind of shifty, kind of like McNall was, so yeah. Speaking of Kings, you got Kazor, right? A lion playing hockey, like as if that doesn't remind anyone of the Manchester Monarchs, with that lion logo. If you're into minor pro hockey, Kazor goes on to join the Rebels in Altair 4, and when I think of Rebels and hockey, I automatically think of the Red Deer Rebels from the Western Hockey League, because Red Deer is like 2-hour drive from my place. The team the Mighty Ducks played at the end of the Hockeydome tournament was the Neurons, and they got some really strong Quebec Nordique vibes going on with those guys, especially if you think of the Nordiques from the very first year in the World Hockey Association, right? Like the colors of their uniforms are like, the light blue and the red. Pretty bang on. Both teams have a red colored letter N as a logo on their uniform, and even the uniform stripings are pretty similar. I'm going to say that it is obviously a coincidence, but hey, the Quebec Nordiques did win a number of Avco trophies in the WHA, and the Neurons were multi-time champions, so yeah, there's another kind of coincidence there. But yeah, the Nordiques, that's just an obscure reference, but hey. But yeah, I do love the hockey logos and uniforms, so that's just where my mind goes. But yeah, that's all I got for you today, so other than all of that, I guess that's that. Also, I'm trying out one of those Instagram accounts, so if you want to check it out, I'll have the link in the description below. Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video, and if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, feel free to do so, or anything else, just to say hi, that's cool too. And other than that, have a great day. Thanks.